Hello and welcome to Tuesday edition of Falling Chains. As I promised you on Sunday, today we're starting a 6-part series. Now at the very beginning of Falling Chains, I promised you guys something. I said on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we will look at practical steps toward reaching your goals. And then on Sundays, we're going to have spiritual Sundays, and I'm going to share biblical principles with you on Sunday. Well, we're going to look to a guy from the Bible for the next 2 weeks. But listen, I've quoted Gandhi before on this page, right? So, and I disagree with Gandhi on most things, but he said some things that were smart, so I shared them. Okay, we're going to talk about the Apostle Paul for the next 2 weeks. And this guy, whether you believe in the Bible, whether you believe in Christianity, the Apostle Paul was a very intelligent guy who lived a remarkable life. So we're going to look at something the Apostle Paul said in the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verses 13 and 14. He said, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus." And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about just that first word, brethren. Now that's an old-timey word from the Bible. What does that really mean? It means brothers and sisters. See, the Apostle Paul was known as being an independent guy. He relied on the Lord, but he was actually a tent maker. Some people don't know that. The Apostle Paul was a missionary, but he made tents and sold them and traded them for other goods to help support himself. He didn't so much do like we see missionaries doing today, where he went to a bunch of churches and they just collected a bunch of money for him and then sent him out. The Apostle Paul worked to earn his keep while he was on the mission field. But we see here Paul says, brethren. He's talking to his brothers and to his sisters in Christ here when he says this. Later in the book of Philippians, he brags on the church at Philippi because he says when he was in Thessalonica, the city of Thessalonica, they sent once and again to meet his needs. So even an independent guy like the Apostle Paul needed his brothers and his sisters. That's what we want to talk about today. You need to have a support group. Whatever your goals are, we all need support. And when we think of a support group, we think about really close people who are just in our corner, and some of us aren't fortunate enough to have that. I do. I've got my pastor who's a mentor to me. I've got a family at my church, my whole church family, but one particular family there are just constantly texting me and encouraging me and building me up, and it's good to have people like that. But regardless, whether you have people like that in your life or not, you need to find some people like that. Let me put it like this. If you want to lose weight, you need to find someone who's lost a bunch of weight, and you need to befriend them. Because you hang out with somebody like that, you're going to be like the people you hang out with. This is a silly saying. I don't know if they say it other places, but in West Virginia, sometimes you'll hear an older person say that it's hard to soar like an eagle when you hang out with turkeys, right? And as silly as that is, it's true. You're going to be like the people that you're hanging around. So let me put it like this. No matter what your age, if you're a high schooler, you don't want to hang out with the crowd that's doing the wrong things and getting in trouble, or you're going to be like that crowd. Okay? If you're a college athlete, okay, you want to find someone, maybe an ex-player who went pro in your sport. If you can, someone who played the same position as you. You want to find someone like that to befriend, so that you can learn from them and learn what was successful for them. If you're trying to advance in your career, don't go to lunch with the office flunky. Go to lunch with the dude that's been promoted 3 times in the last 2 years. You see what I'm saying? We've got to we become who we hang out with. I was fortunate enough a couple years ago that my employer at the time paid for my membership at a local country club. And when I went to that country club, I wasn't going around asking people for advice or asking anyone to mentor me. I was just hanging out with a bunch of guys, playing golf, having a good time. But as I hung around those guys, I started to realize these guys had more money than me. I started to realize their habits were different than mine. I started realizing that I was the only one there who didn't have investments. So I started investing some money. You become what you hang around. So when the Apostle Paul says brethren, that's what I want to encourage you today, that you find some brothers and sisters, you find some like-minded people who share the same goals as you. Find some people who have walked in your footsteps, and you don't have to use that person. You don't have to get that person to agree to be your mentor. Just hang around them, and naturally you're going to learn from them. You're going to glean keys to their success, and you're going to start acting like they act. You're going to start getting the results that they get. Join us on Thursday for a video titled Not There Yet. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing the chains fall in your lives.